Greetings, Red Tie community. It's the ball guy in the red tie, John Butler, coming live from Tyler Tech Studios at Signature Realty in Murrieta, California, with the world famous, the loudest voice in the room, Miss Susan Ebert. How are you?
Talking about me.
Yeah. Anybody that's watching this that knows you just laughed. They can hear your voice. And that's what's great about, like, we're in here in the studio, and you're like at least 100 feet away, and we know everything that you're saying.
I'm so sorry.
It's
I
okay.
apologize.
No, it's awesome.
Because some of them are very inappropriate conversations.
Usually.
Yeah. Pretty much. It's the way I roll, isn't it? I don't know what that is. Where's the line? Let's cross it.
A wise person once said, it's okay to walk in the shade as long as you're walking towards the light.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, it was a real estate mentor of mine. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, on Facebook, we are here live with Miss Susan Ebert. Are you the CEO of Signature Realty? Tell us what's going on here.
I'm just this little broker here.
I'm just a little itty-bitty broker.
Yeah, I'm just a little broker having a little brokerage of collaboration and change and magnificence. And all these youngsters doing great things here, and I'm just watching them do it.
Well, and I think that's what's great about this place is that it really does have a spirit of and a community of collaboration. And I think that's really kind of the foundation of what you guys do. So, I personally am not with Signature Realty, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very confused. There's probably going to be a lot of buzz over the next couple of days like, did you hear what John did? No, don't worry. Still work at Realty One Group. It's okay.
Yes,
it's okay.
yes, you do, and I love Barbara.
It's okay. Yeah, we have a great community here.
Yeah.
And so that's the purpose of my whole show is talking about the Red Tie community. Basically, all the people in my little world, my little bubble. And I like to just put them on a platform and kind of talk about their lives. And you, of all people, have a very interesting story.
I do?
I think we're going to... Oh, yes,
Well, I make them up as I go along.
I know. That's why it's so fun, because it's always different. It's like a new episode of Susan every single time.
I know. Fun, right? If I could only remember the stories I've told, I'd be so much better off.
Consistency matters.
It does.
All right, so let's jump into a story. Let's rewind in the time machine of the ball guy in the red tie and Susan Ebert. Let's go to the summer of 2008.
Is that when it was?
It was summer of 2008, so 10 years ago.
Holy mackerel. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, lots happened in 10 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of good things.
So, here's the backstory from my perspective, and I'll hand it off to you. I was working at Pechanga Resort and Casino as a casino host. I had just passed my real estate exam and got my real estate license in February of 2008. And then I was working at Pechanga, doing my thing. I started selling Monavie to the gamblers because that made sense to me. If you're playing jackpots for $10,000 a hand or whatever, it's like, what's a $100 ball of juice, right?
Juice.
I kind of like the way my voice sounded with the headphones. All right.
You want one? Susan doesn't have them, so.
Okay, whatever.
Hey, explain real quick what's going on with everybody out here, John. You got Vincent, our courier, tuned in.
Hi, Vince.
Oh, Vinny boy.
So tell them how the setup goes real quick here.
So we're starting all the way back at square one?
Yeah, just
way to interrupt my story. Okay.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle of the story. All right, so this is the Red Tie Community Podcast at Tyler Tech Studios in Murrieta, California with Susan Ebert.
There you go.
Who didn't know she was doing this right now.
Yeah, so she got thrown in.
I thought it was a test.
Well,
this is only a test.
This is a live test.
Okay. Ooh.
All right, so let's pick up the story. Going back to Pechanga Resort and Casino. Mm-hmm. And I am the casino host there doing my thing. I get fired. Actually, this is before I got fired. So my aunt, who was a broker from Exit Realty up in Washington, she was out scouting around some offices because I think there's 2 exits at the time. Uh-huh. And so she walks into your office with Sean Sorensen and you, and she's like, oh my gosh, John, you need to go meet these people. So she gives you my phone number, and then what happens next?
So I didn't realize that you worked all night. I had no idea. This cute little petite woman walks in. I give her the tour of the office, tell her everything that we're doing. I have no idea that I'm being interviewed. Mm-hmm. So I was really glad that I passed that test, number one. You don't know till you're the
You're
end.
on PG status that day.
I was on PG status. No R.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, no X.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
And so it was so sweet to meet her, but I really didn't know the motive. And so when she then told me about you, I understood that I had passed the exam, right? And she said, you should give him a call. And I'm thinking, okay, this is what I do for a living. This is the funnest part.
Yeah.
To make this courtesy call to say, hey, where's my next millionaire coming from?
Right.
And how I remember it is I called you and I had no idea you worked all night.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so I call first thing in the morning and you're just getting off work and I'm like, what up? And is this the next Donald Trump? I can't remember what it was I
think
said
it was along
to
those
you.
lines, yep.
Yeah. And you're like, who's this? Why are you calling me? I'm asleep. I just got off work. And I'll never forget that because that was one of the instrumental changes in my life and my career was when you joined our brokerage.
Yeah.
Because you taught me more than I ever taught you.
Oh, I don't believe that.
And it was like bringing a son on
Yeah.
and watching someone with all these gifts and talents that were natural that I had nothing to do with. And my favorite story about you is when I thought I was going to be training you when really you knew this stuff. You're sales inside and out. You're a natural talent.
Yeah.
And I asked you to go with me to a showing because I was afraid. And I thought I was going to teach you how to go show a house because we were going to meet a buyer for somebody at a house.
Yeah.
And you came with me.
Because he was probably going to cut you up into little pieces and
Well,
put
and
you
there
in
was
the
a
backyard.
place in the backyard that looked like you could bury people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was
He was
scared.
questionable.
It
Really was questionable.
I was scared. And you came with, and they didn't answer the door. And so I say to you, well, they didn't answer the door. The buyer's going to be here any minute. Why don't you just go ask those guys if they want to sell? And that garage door had been opened next door, and you just got out of the car and went and talked to this complete stranger. Like, okay, well, they're not answering the door, but somebody's coming here to buy a house. Do you want to sell yours? And from that moment on, I knew that you were going to be dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if we fast forward here, I lost my job at Pechanga.
Yep.
And I said, hey, I really have to do something now. So imagine going home and telling your wife and your mother-in-law, hey, I lost my job, my consistent salaried job, but don't worry, I'm getting into real estate. And it just happens to be September 2008. And if you remember September 2008, the banks are melting down.
Yes.
The REO process is going crazy. Barack Obama is about to be elected in a month or two. So a lot was happening, and it was probably the worst time to get into real estate, and I went running into it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I think there's something to be said about that is when the building is burning down, sometimes it's good to go running into it and see
It was
what
the
happens.
best thing that ever happened to me because that changed the dynamics of our brokerage and the whole personality of it because now we had a personality in it.
Yeah.
And it was you. And you were so cute and energetic.
Well, I was much skinnier then too.
So
I think
was I.
I had a lot more energy because I wasn't so weighed down here.
Me too.
I've gained about 30% mass.
I'm pretty sure that I gotta load myself.
Yeah, that's why I told Tyler, I was like, we need to get the cameras to like
yeah.
edit this way.
What is that
Yeah.
thing that happened?
Got
It's
this shot
called.
too, guys. We can go, hey.
It's In-N-Out Burger is what it is for me, but it's protein style.
Yeah, just the meat and lettuce. That's terrible. So 2008 goes into 2009, and we were over at the building over by the duck pond off of Marion Hot Springs Road.
Yep.
And a nice, quaint little office
Yes.
with cubicles.
Yes.
And we never got any REO counts, but I remember that one time there was going to be this. I remember they were promising everybody REO counts
Oh
if
my
you just sign up for
gosh.
the webinar, and
Yes.
everybody got reamed on that one.
Oh, even me.
Yeah,
I was dying.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
that was
That was
a tough
really
one.
humiliating. It was. When you believe when someone tells you something and then you run with it.
Well, in 2009, that was the craze, right? Because if you didn't have an REO count, you're barely surviving at all.
Yeah. And
And
we
so you-
know the only person who's going to get an REO account is Bob Cadez.
Bob Cadez is probably watching this right now.
We love Bob.
I love Bob. He's like one of
Me
my
too.
uncles.
And Nat Jenis. Yeah.
Yeah.
We like them.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
who else was it? Nick Benavides. He had a lot of REOs.
Yep.
Warburton.
Yeah.
I know that they did.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of heavy hitters there,
Ooh,
and they
Sherry
just
Potts was fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
She had a lot of the HUD ones.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So and now I don't even know. Does anybody have an REO count? Are they even needed right now? I mean, everything's pretty much standard. I'd say 99.9% of it.
Right now, most of the sales that we have going on, I don't have a whole lot of REOs going on, but it's
Yeah.
time to start having those relationships with those bad boys.
Oh, we're gonna see a turn in the market.
Oh,
in the,
you know that's coming. We like to do things in cycles.
they are definitely secular. Secular? I don't know, whatever that word is.
You got it
But
right.
It keeps coming back around.
It does. It does.
So what was some of your favorite stories from that era of 2009 to 2015, 14?
I think it's cute that you think I remember stories. That's number one. I have to say that my favorite story is actually a personal story.
Okay.
And it's when you let me babysit your kids.
Okay.
And they came over and we made tents.
Yeah.
of the whole living room and dining room.
What? But back up. I think you actually took them to Toys R Us.
Oh, yeah, I got in trouble for that.
And basically have carte blanche to get whatever they wanted.
I did.
And so I remember Jen was like, "Oh, I see you got a new bicycle or whatever." They totally just ran with it. Of course, they were modest. They weren't getting $10 Lego packs. They're like, "What's the most expensive thing I can get out of Susan right now?"
No. They were actually really kind and mild-mannered, and they were energetic but polite.
Yeah.
Your kids are amazing.
They
And I have
truly
to
are.
say that you and Jen letting me into that part
Yeah.
was the most precious thing
Yeah.
and gift you ever gave me. Yeah. And then I might have overfed them cookies or something, and I forgot.
I think one of them got sick.
One of them
Yeah.
was saying he was going to get sick.
Yeah.
But then Jack was like, no, and he put his arm around him. We're sitting at the kitchen table, and he said, "You're going to be fine." And he said, "Susan, he's going to be fine." I said, "Okay, Jack."
The older, bigger brother.
Yeah,
That is
always
so
the older,
cool.
bigger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so cute. He's doing good. I like to Facebook like him a lot.
He's a little rock star.
Yeah, he is, just like his
So
daddy.
Jack is 12, and he is in the School of Rock, which is a great program, by the way. If you have not experienced the School of Rock, so if you have kids that are into music, because, you know, the music programs have been completely taken away out of the schools and stuff like that. So this place, School of Rock, it's over off of Rancho California Road in Margarita. So a little shout out to them. But they literally teach them how to be little rock stars. They put on concerts, and it's good music. So it's not like, you know,
Yeah,
sitting through a
naughty.
recital.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, Led Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. And so he's just excelling at that, and it's been really cool to be his parent during this transition. And because he's not that little kid anymore, now he's cool, right? And so I try to tell him, like, I used to be cool. And he's like, no. So, you know, I try to dab on the haters
Oh, I don't even
and
know how
flip
to
my
dab.
bottles.
How
But
do you
I'm
dab?
I think you have to curve your arm like this and stick it straight out. That's dabbing.
You gotta look down.
You gotta dab.
I'm dabbing?
Yeah.
Hey, Vincent says we all have the look ideal for radio.
Oh,
Thanks, Vince.
thanks,
And
Vince.
he also says, don't think the next dip in the market will be big for REO. Sorry, REO agents, don't get too excited.
Ah.
Vincent Arcuri.
We love Vince.
So Vince Arcuri is the beast from the East, and those don't know who he is. Big mega player, #1 in the world with ERA back in 2006 and 2007.
Yeah.
Just a giant of a personality. He texted me a few weeks ago, and he said, "John, you're going to be so glad that you answered my phone call." I said, "Okay, Vince, why?" And he goes, "Because you need to go on eBay and get these little wrestler figurine dolls kind of thing, because there's a bald one with a black suit." And he's like, "If you take some nail polish and color the tie," I was like, because of course he has like 20 of them, because Vince is also a bald-headed individual. So he passes those out to his clients, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh.
So Vince is a marketing genius.
Yes,
and,
he
he's
is.
always got something up his sleeve.
I still like the milkman. I like
Yeah.
the mustache. The
Yeah.
milk mustache with
He
Vince.
was talking about bringing
Yeah.
that back, so let's
Yeah.
see if he does.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. So what do you see happening in 2018? Because there's a lot of craziness in our little local bubble. We have over 5,000 real estate agents. 5,000. So can you imagine 5,000 of any other business, like a
Yeah.
tire shop or whatever?
Yeah.
So the competition's definitely there.
Yeah.
And you are a broker here in this valley. So what are you seeing from some of the agents coming through?
Well, the biggest thing that I'm seeing, if I'm, brutally honest,
Mm-hmm.
is that they want a more agent-centric driven brokerage. And the conventional real estate is going a little bit by the side, and it's about the agent. It's about their identity. It's about them branding them. And honestly, when a buyer and seller communicates with an agent, in my opinion, they're making eye contact with you. They're not making it with me.
Right.
I'm the overseer and the protector and the collaborator and the teacher and the trainer and the mentor. But I think it's okay to give a real estate agent the credit that they're due.
Exactly.
I think they've earned it.
And I think that was when I came out of the gates, I didn't know any different. And so I always branded myself as the bald guy in the red tie. I was representative of Exit Realty. And I
Yeah.
think I was a good ambassador for the brand and stuff like that. But it was always bald guy, red tie. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't even know you had your own, a different brokerage or whatever."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that's really caught on. And not that I was the one to initiate that, but I never understood why people would promote, say, Tarbell or Century 21 or whatever that brand was. And then as soon as they left that brokerage, their identity was lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what you're.
Yeah, it's just a different mindset. I think it's a different philosophy. I think there's conventional real estate out there,
Right.
and it's broker-centric, and it's publicly traded, and I think you have a different outcome and a different outlook when it comes to that. I do think that the BRE protects that, and I think they're scared of teams, and I think they're scared of agent brands, and I think that they're going to do everything they can to hinder that,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. I think as
Old
long as
school.
you're doing a good job and you're being ethical and upright and you have good head on your shoulders and you have broker supervision, I don't know what the threat truly is there. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of it
Yeah.
because I embrace all you guys.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, it makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like you got some
Yeah.
great agents here. You got
Yeah.
James Shelby, you got Christian Stone.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a handful of
Yeah.
other ones that are,
Yeah.
are rock stars, but
Yeah.
it's so cool to see how everybody shapes and does their own business.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm not a cold caller whatsoever, but those two just crush it.
They do
they
crush
just
it.
go nuts with it.
I
So,
know.
Like, hey, more power to you.
Yeah. The thing I like and I think that needs to change is that culture of collaboration and the mentality of there really is enough for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that lots of people say there is enough for everybody, but they don't live that.
Yeah.
And I think here at Signature, we actually do believe it and we do live it.
Right.
And it's okay for each individual and team and brand to do the things that they want to do. Not everybody cold calls, not everybody door knocks, not everybody does Zillow, not everybody does Realtor.com. Everybody is allowed to run their business the way they want to run their business with
Yeah.
the prospecting lead generation. And then everybody gleans as iron sharpens iron. Everybody's in the same room sharing. It's awesome.
I went to an awesome panel yesterday over at
Yes.
8-Bit Brewery.
Yes.
And just some phenomenal people. You had
Yes.
Val Ives. you
Ashley
had
Cooper.
Ashley Cooper.
Yes.
Which I haven't really met her. I
Oh,
wasn't aware of
she's
her.
lovely.
But yeah,
Yeah.
she seems like she's just
Yeah.
on it. And then Miss Kim Meeker, who I just
Yes.
adore. I think she's a great mentor and teacher and trainer. And
Yeah.
she just really, everybody on that panel had this heart of giving. They wanted to share. And it was packed. Like, it was like watching Facebook live in real
Yeah.
time because
Yeah.
you had Val Ives there, you had Stefan West.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I can go on and name about 10, 15, 20 different top producers in the Valley. So to get everybody, all that brain power under one roof,
Yeah.
that is so cool. And I really admire that about our local real estate community.
Me too.
And so again, that kind of goes back to the premise of my podcast show is that it's about the community, you know?
Yeah.
Because there is enough. Because my sphere of influence is not going to go with another agent, and their sphere of influence isn't going to go with me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own little flavor of ice cream, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I love ice cream.
yeah, I know.
I've been eating extra.
But overall, it looks like 2018 is going to be a great year.
I think it's going to be a great year of growth and
Mm-hmm.
collaboration and change and an environment of people coming together for the purpose of the community.
Yep.
And I think that that's a good purpose. So I'm really lucky that I get to watch all you guys do this because I feel like I'm just sitting on the sidelines and then pass the torch to each one of you guys and then you run with it.
Yeah.
And the marathon that you guys have done so far and the one that you have personally done, John Butler,
Yeah.
is amazing.
It's
and it's
been
been
a
an honor
10-year
to just
10-year run.
watch you grow. Oh, you're a grown-up.
Well, you know, we talk about chapters and seasons and
Yeah.
stories of life, and
Yeah.
that's what life is. It's just a sum of stories.
I know, but my favorite that you did was when you were on the stage at convention
Yeah.
and you got to tell your story.
That was my man on the moon moment.
Yeah.
And so for people that don't know what that was, back in 2014, I was lucky enough to be turning my phone off so people wouldn't get interrupted in my story, School of Rock, who we were just talking about. Probably calling and telling me my son's too much of a rock star. But it was 2014, and so Exit Realty, they were just amazing. They would have these amazing conventions, and they would go to Tennessee and Texas and Washington, D.C. and all this kind of stuff. Well, this was the one time that they were going to come to Disneyland, to the west coast of of America.
Yeah.
And what was so cool about that is anybody that knows my family knows that my wife is a Disneyland fanatic. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to speak at this one. Like, I need to share my story. And so luckily, Steve Morris and Tammy, they were so gracious to allow me to be on stage. And if anybody knows my personality, I'm not one to script things out or
Oh my
prepare
gosh,
things.
I was so panicked.
Yeah. And Steve, who was the founder and CEO, like, he was one of those guys like, you gotta train for 6 months, 2 hours a day staring in the mirror. and you got to memorize it all. I'm like, oh, man. So I literally went on stage without knowing what I was going to talk about whatsoever. And I think it came out pretty good.
It was perfect. You did it perfectly. And you told the story from the beginning, middle, and end. And when you sat on the stairs and we're talking about one of the more sensitive tragedies of your life and losing your mom, everybody connected.
Yeah.
Everybody connected. And you were able to take a room of thousands of people and take a quiet minute and bring all of them together. And it's the same thing that you do in your career. Yeah. And you do it with this community and you do it with real estate. You're doing a great job, young man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that was definitely, and I'll probably post that video maybe later tonight, so anybody who wants to watch it, just check back on my Facebook. But it really is a great story, and I was just honored that I was able to share that. Yeah. But it really was that man on the moon moment where, since I was 10 years old and I saw Vanilla Ice for the first time, I was like, I want to be on stage in front of thousands of people. And I finally had that moment at 33 years old. So that was really neat.
Yeah, I can't listen to Vanilla Ice now without thinking of you. I can't.
Stop.
Collaborate and listen. John is back at the brand new podcast.
Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flows like a harpoon.
We have our resident rapper, Mr. Tyler the Tech.
I love that. Yay.
Who, if people don't know, so Tyler the Tech is a multi-talented person. He's a techie. Yeah, we go to the 3-cam.
Michael Crawford says hi, John.
Hey, Michael. I love Michael. He's always the nicest guy. I saw him yesterday at the panel as well. But yeah, Mr. Tyler Tech is very gifted in his musical career, his technical career. And yeah, he likes to. Is that from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? See, I know those 90s references.
That's right.
So that was a wonderful moment. Disneyland, good times.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up. I'll have to post that video.
Yeah. It was life-changing.
Really
I remember when you gave me your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sat and I read it in one night.
Yep.
And it was when you were explaining that you were on your dirt bike and you could feel the motor in the handlebars.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid can write. And I couldn't put it down. And then I laughed and then I cried. And then you started writing really good private remarks in the MLS.
Yes.
Like, and I'm like, not
So
only
you've
does he
seen
write
those.
a book, I mean, okay, driving directions. First of all, place your hands on 10 and 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you adjust your rearview mirror? Oh my gosh, comedy.
Well, and so the general public doesn't know about that, but so I'll explain what she's talking about. So on the MLS, as real estate agents, we have listings, right? And so there's a section on there for driving directions. And everybody does, take a right at the stoplight and go left 2.2 miles, and, it's technical and boring. And I'm like, nowadays, everybody's on their phone anyways, following the GPS lady, right? So I'm like, I'm going to have fun with this. And I usually put my listings up in the morning after I've had like 2 cups of coffee, so I'm on like a caffeine buzz, like really just amped up. And so I'll say stupid stuff like, lean hard to the left like a true boss while you bump your Snoop Dogg and things like that. And I have one I just listed up in Sun City right now. And so it says, drive past all the rock lawns and don't drive too fast or else somebody with oversized black sunglasses will shake their fist at you, you damn youngster, or something like that. Yes.
They're the best.
So I'll get people that'll say, John, I don't have any buyers for your house, but I would love to work with you just because of your sense of humor.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
and
fun.
we need to have that.
Yeah.
In this business. We need to laugh a little bit more.
I agree.
At ourselves.
I agree.
And not take it so...
And I really hope that's the message of my brand that people get across is that they don't get lost too much in the humor where people go, oh, well, you're not serious about business. Because I'm actually a great businessman. I really am.
Yes, you are.
But I do it with a sense of humor, and I like to have fun while you get the deal done.
Exactly.
And I think that really sums it up.
One of my favorite things that you did is I went with you once to give keys to someone.
Yeah.
And are you still doing that tradition?
It depends on the client and the relationship, yeah.
And he lovingly grabbed these people, brought this little prosperity plant, and I think you had something to drink there. But the favorite part was presenting them the keys and then giving them your red tie.
Yep.
And hanging the red tie on the counter, on the cabinet there.
Yeah.
And you were leaving it behind. And there was the legacy. And I'm like, gosh, that was awesome.
And this whole red tie thing, it really kind of started off as a joke when I was at Pechanga. But it really has become such a significant brand as far as just the symbolism of it. And It's been pretty neat. So,
Yeah.
So instead of passing on ties, I actually have T-shirts made with red ties on them, and then I have the little action figure dolls, and everybody calls it a voodoo doll, but I call it an action figure because I don't want people sticking needles into my face.
Right?
Yeah. Tyler would love to stick
I have
needles
one
in
of
my
your
face.
shirts.
That's right.
Yeah, me and Tanya. I
Yep.
think we have pictures together in that.
Well, see, the red tie really stands out. So
Yeah, it does.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you're doing well.
I am. It's
Yeah.
been what I love most now is that I have family and work balance. You know, so
And that is the hardest part, isn't it?
well, it really is. But I think when you set those boundaries out there, and what I found to be interesting is, a lot of people would call my voicemail, and it says, "Sorry if it's after 6 o'clock. I'm spending time with the family." And so many agents are so afraid of not being available, like a 7-Eleven, like always there 24 hours a day.
Right.
But you'd be amazed at how much respect people give you when they realize that you are putting your family as a priority and spending time with them and raising. And especially if people know me personally, they know that I have 3 sons, 12-year-old, 10-year-old, and 7-year-old, and they need dad time.
Yeah.
They need that guidance.
They need
and-
dirt bike time.
Yeah. Which was cool because on Christmas I taught them how to jump dirt bikes, which drove Jen crazy. But she handled it well. She really did.
Oh.
Yeah.
So John took my son once
Yep.
dirt biking, show him how it was done.
That was
And-
quite an experience.
Yeah, but you can really ride a bike.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared when my kids get air and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so scary. But I was shocked because I knew, and you see it, and you hear the stories, and you read the book, and you know the history. But when you got on that bike, young man, it was so fun.
Yep.
What's that thing that you do on the corners?
Oh, like, blowing up the berms.
Yes.
And,
That was the funnest thing.
and see, people hear me talk about dirt bikes, but they don't know.
Oh.
They have no idea. Like, so I almost went pro. With, like a slow pro, not Jimmy McGrath pro, but a slow pro. I would have been a slow pro. I would have been lapped 2 or 3 times, but I would have been out there.
And now you go pro?
I go pro. Well, so it's funny when we went riding. That was the fastest half a lap that I rode in my life, and then I was pretty much done for the day because my arms were all pumped up. I was fat. Like my kidney belt was cutting into my ribs. I had my gut going. It's like, oh.
I so wasn't going to tell that part of the story.
Yeah, well, I'm a full disclosure kind of guy.
Christian Stone's on. He says, "What?" Christian Stone.
What?
He loves this. Yay! And then he says, "How do you see me?" It's magic, Christian. This is all magic we're doing here. We all see you.
Tyler Tegg is like a magical technical wizard. That's what he is. That's what he does.
I regret not hooking up the third mic. I should be on.
See, I told you. You could have participated.
I can talk with you guys.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Well, can't we
Good
hear
stuff,
you?
Good stuff. Yeah, I have a mic up, or I'm using both of your mics in stereo.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, any
Okay.
other memories that we want to go down?
Oh,
Memory
gosh,
lane.
you're asking an old woman this, and I thought I
No, we
did
have
so
hundreds of
good.
Well, I would like to go on record as saying that I was probably the most winningest agent at Exit Realty.
Yes.
And I would
Yes.
win by like, hey, John got 1 listing this month. He's our top listing agent. Woo! I'm like, damn right.
We celebrated it.
Well, you know what? It's so preschool-ish because you used to be like a preschool
yes,
teacher.
Yes, yes.
And even though I was like 30 at the time, I would work harder to get those damn trophies than I ever did for the commission checks because it was
Yeah.
all about getting that damn trophy.
Yeah, but I'll tell you that then when we did the awards every year,
Yeah.
it was so fun to go shopping for them because we wanted to get a better one than the last year,
Yep.
and we
Yep.
wanted it to be crystal and engraved and heavy, and it was so fun. But like you brought that to my world, to my brokerage, to that level. I had never had someone who produced real estate honestly like that.
Yeah.
And so that was a gift in itself and taught me how to be a broker in a brokerage because now I have this person who's actually just a mover and shaker.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was life-changing.
that was a lot of fun.
It
And I still
was a
have
lot
all
of
those
fun.
trophies actually.
You do?
Yeah, so when you walk into my office at home, I have all the plaques and awards.
Aw.
And then I have a closet full of crystal trophies because I don't want to put them in the garage because they'll just break.
Okay, well, I do have a favorite memory.
Okay.
Hey, real quick.
yeah.
Wendy says she's sweet. She says Susan treats everyone like they are a star.
It's true.
And then Mr. Chris Wiggins says, "What up, guys? Your favorite lender is here watching," and says, "Hey."
Hey, what up?
Mr. Wiggles.
What up?
Mr. Wiggles is my right-hand man.
Yes.
Love that guy.
Yes, I actually interviewed someone today, and they were speaking really highly of him. And so
Yeah.
it's always nice when you know the people that are going to do good things for you. And it's
So what was your story?
Well, I had told you a story about how I loved crowns and tiaras.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
This is a good one.
And so, because I love crowns and tiaras, and I always wanted them because I want to be a princess or queen.
Right.
And I then became a believer, and I learned about how you could cast your crowns at the feet of the Lord when
Yep.
you get there,
Yep.
and that you earn for yourselves treasure in heaven, and you have jewels that will be in the crown. And I loved that my whole life I had this fascination with tiaras and crowns, but then I found out I was going to get to cast one at his feet, and I was going to have jewels in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the biggest, baddest crown that there is to cast at his feet because I want to have done something that was good in the world before I leave it. And you then turned that into a story.
Yeah.
And just in passing, I had told you that story.
Yeah.
And then just this last year, a couple months ago, another agent, they saw some of the tiaras in my office,
Mm-hmm.
and Jason Ashmore bought me, and I thought he was just joking, and
real
he sends
tiara?
me this little, yes,
Yeah.
like a Miss Universe
That's awesome.
tiara. And I'm like, I don't even want to take it out of the case because I don't want to mess it up. But that little girl princess whole ideological thing was there, that Disneyland
Mm-hmm.
thing, and then you wrote a story for me,
Yep.
and I still have that.
That was a good story.
It's a treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you made it alive.
And that what's interesting about my writing technique is that I'll latch on to something like that, like The Crown or whatever, and then when I sit down to write, I don't know what's going to come out, and so it's actually a very mystical and spiritual and beautiful thing that happens when I sit down to write.
Yeah.
And the story just comes out as it's supposed to come out. I think there's definitely the divine connection, and it
for
just
sure.
flows out. And so I remember writing that story because I wrote it whenever I'm in that inspired mood. I'll write a story like that in 30 minutes, and it just flows out. And it's just it was a very beautiful story. And I remember giving it to you, and then I remember you crying, and then I think you read it at the monthly meeting afterwards.
I did.
And so
Yeah.
Yeah. Rockwell says, "Hello, is this thing on?"
oh, Brett,
Rockwell.
you're bugging me, Brett.
Bugs. You guys want to talk about bugs?
Want to talk about bugs? I'm Brett Rockwell. I live in the desert. I kill stuff.
He says, "You know how to write?"
Whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Brett?
How many red ties does he own? Wendy wants to know.
28.
28?
That
28.
was quick.
Yep.
28 ties John owns, Wendy.
And the only reason I know that number is because I made that number up many years ago because I was asked that question so many times. So I just started saying 28, and they go, 28? Really? I'm like, damn right. But I don't know. I'm sure I have.
Not 31, like one for every day a month.
Yeah. No, I got those in February.
Okay. That took me a second.
Really?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What
So,
about June?
so I actually order these on redneckties.com. Not like red necktie.
Oh!
Not like redneck.
That's
no,
where I
more
went.
like redneckties.com.
Oh.
Yes.
So
Okay.
special shout out to them. Send me a box of red ties because I use them.
You just got to plug redneck ties.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wendy says she's going to buy you your 29th.
Whoa.
Oh.
I appreciate the offer. However, there's very strict standards to be a ball guy red tie. Because my mother-in-law, bless her heart, would buy me red ties for Christmas, but they're like checkered pattern and striped. I'm like, not going to wear it. It has to be a solid fire engine red tie. And these are only like $5.
Where do you get them?
Redneckties.com.
That's right.
Did we not just discuss
If
this?
all else fails, listen, Susan.
Yeah.
Just listen to the last
that
sentence.
day?
Later that day, the light bulb goes off.
Short-term memory loss. Tanya teases me about that all the time. She's like, you can remember something from 1932, but you can't remember what you said the last sentence. Yeah, it's a little scary.
That's why we record everything.
But thanks,
Thank
Wendy.
God.
I appreciate that.
We love Wendy.
So buy one at redneckties.com. Brought to you by redneckties.com.
Wendy says she only buys the finest silk ties.
Whatever.
Oh.
Well, I'm all
she's
about that
She's
polyester.
the finest herself, though.
At Target.
She's the finest. Wendy is. Good
I
girl.
still don't know how to say her last name.
Why not?
Suyuki?
Chusky.
Chusky?
Because I
Kayuski.
haven't read it 10 times. And she said it 10 times. Chusky, right? Chusky, Wendy Chusky.
I'm sure she'll chime in there and
If we could only get her on here.
give us a pronunciation.
Well, see, people can't
I've never met her.
actually-
Actually, I have met her once.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
live through here.
Interesting.
So if they have Messenger, we can have them webcam and invite them into the.
That sounds very technical,
Okay.
Tyler.
Extremely technical.
I'm going to
That's
Paris
why I'm
with
here.
her for
That'll
her
be a
40th
fun
birthday. 40th birthday.
Oh, man.
Mom was going to Paris.
I'm sure there's gonna be lots of good stories from that one.
If we remember any of them.
Lots of, yeah. Have fun. Just don't get banned from the country. You're our representatives, okay? They already don't like
I'm
us.
representing.
Yeah. It's all this like, you know, and you're gonna hear Susan, oh my God! Right?
Yes. I'm excited. I just want to go stand in front of the Eiffel Tower and have someone propose to me.
Just some random French
I
dude.
don't care who it is at this point.
All right. If you're in France and you're listening to this, please find Susan in a couple weeks and propose to her in front of the Eiffel Tower.
But I do have a requirement like you do with the red tie.
Okay. Uh-oh. Let's hear the laundry list of what you want in a man.
Oh, gosh. No, I am not doing that.
Okay.
I can't do that.
You don't want to incriminate yourself
Settle
on
my
record?
We will be naked eating croissants wearing crowns.
Ooh. I thought they're
Crowns.
berets.
Eating croissants.
Berets?
I am so bringing the crown. We're bringing it, Wendy.
Crowns going
You're going to be the new Queen of France.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Maybe there's a prince over there that's, 75 or 80 that will go out with a 56-year-old.
Yeah, definitely take a note from Anna Nicole Smith. Find the oldest person.
No,
Are we
do not
going off the tracks here? We're going off the
No,
tracks.
do not continue.
We're approaching 40-minute mark.
Oh my
Wow,
gosh,
40
we've been
minutes. Wow,
talking
that went
way
by
too
fast.
long. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, in a nutshell, thank you so much for all that you have invested into my life. And thank you for bringing this young man into your building so he can build his empire.
Yes.
And it's going to be so cool to watch Christian Stone, James Shelby, some of these other guys that are going to start using the podcast, the studio. This is truly where the future of marketing is going and is at, is you need to be your own media content personality, building an empire, talking about interesting things. Don't just talk about real estate because real estate gets kind of boring.
Yeah.
But talk about the fun life stories because life is just a sum of stories.
That's right.
How about that? That's a good way to end it, right? That's
I'm
good.
so glad you're in my story.
I know. And I'm glad that you are in mine.
Aw.
So I think we'll wrap it up there. John Butler, the ball guy in the red tie, and Mr. Tyler the Tech, and Miss Susan Ebert with her tiara crown. And Tyler's pointing at something, and I don't know why.
Just point at the camera.
Oh,
We're
you want me to do
camera
like
three.
a Fonzie
We're
thing?
Camera 3. You want to go to camera 1? Go to camera 1.
Camera
Camera 1. Camera 1. Camera 2. Camera 2. Camera 1. Camera 2. Camera 1.
I need to stop doing this angle.
Camera 3.
There we go. All right, so that's it for the second episode of the Red Tie Community. This is John Butler, the ball guy in the red tie, saying see you in escrow. Bye-bye.